Welcome back to another episode of Flawless Plan Garage, where today we are working on this, a 1967 Chevy Impala 4-door hardtop. And yes, I said a, not my, because this car is being built for and with my daughter to be her first car when she turns 16. What could possibly go wrong with that plan? But maybe I should say the 67 Chevy Impala, because yes, this is the model that was prominently featured in the show Supernatural. And yes, that's why we love them in this house, and maybe you do too. But we are embarking on a not restoration of this vehicle to make it mechanically 100%, cosmetically 50, 70%. I don't know, not 100%. Because isn't that just asking for trouble, having your first car when you're 16 be something that's like fully restored and show quality? I know that would have been a big mistake for me. So if you've missed anything along the way so far in this project, you can check out the playlist here. Last time we got the body off the frame, checked out the condition of the body, found out that yeah, it's got some rust, there's some holes, but overall not too bad. I think we can work with this. Now it's time to focus on the chassis. We kind of got the LS swap roughed in and got an eyeball fit on it. Time to clean up, strip, prep the chassis and get it off to powder coating. Not a restoration, but we did take the body off and we are powder coating the chassis. But before we get into today's action, I've got to tell you about today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by bad financial decisions. Bad decisions like spending a lot of money on all the parts of the car that nobody sees, like the chassis, suspension, brakes, drivetrain. This is why I was a terrible car flipper, because I spent all of the money making the car 100% mechanically solid and driving as excellent as I possibly could, and none of the money on the cosmetic stuff people actually are willing to pay money for. So, yeah, let's get to work. Okay, not a pro tip, but in fact a super amateur tip for removing old bushings. You know, it's pretty annoying sometimes to get them to press out cleanly. And if you're doing poly bushings, you need the rubber out, but you want to keep the shells. We're not doing poly bushings on this, but this will still make it much easier to get all the rubber and the inner sleeves out. Plus in the track bar, I have to do poly bushings because you can't get rubber anymore for these. So my trick for removing these, get yourself an old propane grill. One that you don't really want to cook food on anymore. And yeah, just bake that rubber right out of there. Cooks out real nice. Leaves you nice and clean, nothing bunged up. And yeah, just takes care of the problem with pretty much zero actual effort. All right, teardown continues apace. I've been finishing stripping down all the control arms. So rear control arms, after burning the bushings out, the rubber out of the bushings, I like doing that because it makes it really easy to then knock the shells out if indeed you're going with rubber bushings again rather than poly ones. And basically what I do is I just take the old air chisel, collapse some of the backside, and then drive it out. Only takes a few seconds per shell. So control arms are stripped, front and rear. Ball joints and everything are all out, so those are ready for powder coating or blasting coating. Trash can's filling up nicely. Track bar's ready to go. That's that aftermarket 700R4 cross member. That should be ready to go. We are just about completely stripped on the chassis. All the miscellaneous little bits and bobs. We have almost all those off. Ari's been working hard on that today. And then a fun discovery, as such things tend to go. This is the bracket that holds the upper control arm for the rear axle. So a 3-link setup like these old Impalas have, just has one upper control arm. And I popped the studs out of it because I noticed that the top stud here has actually torn away, the metal has torn away in this bracket. So that essentially that top stud is really not doing anything. So you could have easily had a lot of movement, inappropriate movement, shall we say, and flexing of this bracket since that top stud really wasn't attached. So I'll get this cleaned up, fix that, get it welded before this gets powder coated. And chassis repair pieces. So we have just a few of the body mounts that need to be repaired. Forgive some of the goo on there. Where the body mount, like the rubber, has trapped water and salt against the frame and has rusted out that body mount hole. So I've got, this chassis is 120 wall from GM, so I've got some 120 wall steel and am making some little patches that will get welded in here. Still got some work to do to cut away the old chassis to this shape, get these welded in, but I've got my holes, I've got my shapes for the front two, I've got one or two more to do in the back, similar kind of way, and then plating in my crossmember cutout. Okay, I swear I had footage of all the cleanup and cutting we did on the front crossmember, but the GoPro ate it. Really, I swear, the GoPro ate my homework. Anyway, you can at least see the finished product of what we had to cut. Let's paint it out in the driveway. The sun will keep it nice and warm and it'll dry faster. What's that, windstorm coming in? Yeah, another flawless plan. That's gonna take a lot of scrubbing to get all the foliage out of this stuff. Always gotta be some dumb decision. Thankfully, my daughter is smarter than I am and she's painting the last couple bits inside.
Something about painting and then getting foliage in it seems very counterproductive, but you know.
All right, so some of the things you didn't see on camera were hours and hours of power washing, scraping, degreasing, prepping the metal, pour 15 coating, all of the chassis parts that didn't go to the powder coaters. The rest of it, we did pack up the suspension arms, the chassis itself, the cross members, etc. That stuff got packed up and is at the powder coaters now. So we'll see how all that stuff looks when it comes back. Fingers crossed that the blasting and coating goes quickly and smoothly and well on that, and we can begin assembly in earnest soon. If I haven't told you lately, I really appreciate you watching this video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying this content at all, please consider sharing it, liking, subscribing, etc. You know how to support stuff that you like on YouTube. Thanks again. See you next time.